You are listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, presented by Richard A. Boxshall, in which I chronicle my life and attempts to become a professional writer by, doing some writing daily, hopefully. Hello, it's Sunday the 4th of January? Oh, see, I'm tired. Sunday the 4th of August 2024, you're listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. And I'm finally back home, as you've actually heard over the last... I've actually been fairly consistent in recording in the last little while, and you've heard me in Singapore and Sydney, which was all a lot of fun. But yeah, finally back home, did the 13 hours and 10-minute flight back overnight, got back in the wee small hours. It was quite early this morning. So that's that trip done. I've now got quite a bit of time off. I will be using that time to do, amongst other things, some writing. But I'd just like to look back at what I've achieved in the last sort of 9 days that I've been on this work trip, because I've actually written chapter 33. It's not finished yet. I have still got an editing sweep to do on it, which is paper edit. So I'll print it off and edit it. But it's done, and it actually reads okay, and it covers the plot points it needs to cover. And reading through it, I don't hate it. And it's interesting because I can't remember before this bit. I can't remember when I last wrote new material. I'm sure if I had a look back on my Twitch stream archive, I'd be able to work out when I actually did it. But yeah, so it has been a really long time since I wrote new material. And I'm definitely going to try and get at least a chapter or two done, probably one chapter realistically, whilst I'm off work now, because I'm not now working till the 16th. As you heard when I kind of got the date wrong at the very beginning, I am really tired. I almost dropped my emergency podcast today, but I thought, well, no, I've got not a lot to say, but a couple of things. So the other thing that's really nice, whilst I was away, I actually wrote the first 2,500 words of my next short story, which is part of my 60/40 collection, which is what I call my Doctor Who and the Bill crossovers. And as I've said before, but not recently, it's called that because when I started writing it last year was the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who and the 40th anniversary of, I believe, the pilot episode of the Bill being transmitted. So yeah, I'm really pleased with that. So the story is set on board in Air Australia, which was the company Tegan Javanka, the Doctor's companion, used to work for. I don't know if that was ever established on the TV show, but I believe the airline has been established in wider media. I need to actually find where that came from, actually, but it makes sense. She's obviously not wearing a Qantas uniform, whereas, British Airways, actually, you have got people wearing British Airways actual uniforms in Time Flight, which is the story this is set immediately after. Yeah, and what's quite nice is, so the flight home, I was on first break, which means we did the first service and then I had 4 and a bit hours in the bunks. Now, most people prefer second break because basically you then rest, wake up, and you just got the final food service and then you're done, the flight's over. I prefer that break as well, but it was okay. We went on first break, half the crew, and then what was quite pleasant was, there wasn't, the first couple of hours, not many people were awake customer-wise, so we got quite a few things. I basically sat down and wrote another few hundred words of the story, which is quite amusing because obviously it's set on board a plane. It's about Tegan. It's the story of why Tegan gets fired, and she does it sticking up for a passenger who's been treated badly by the purser on board. What was quite nice was I was suddenly thinking, so the opening paragraph, or the opening sentence of the story is one member of cabin crew handing over to another what's going on the flight before they go on their break. And I suddenly thought, wow, this is set on an Australian plane. And I'm making the assumption that all the jargon is the same. Not that it's crucial that the jargon's correct and country specific, but it'd be nice to get it right. And what was quite nice was the our in-flight manager, his boyfriend was with us on this trip, and his boyfriend works for Qantas. So I was able to just say, look, is this jargon right? Would you say that? And pretty much it was. I mean, it's not that important, but it's nice that I've got a nice little bit of detail in there. Anyway, I am waffling because I'm tired. I've come back to my house covered in scaffolding because I'm having some roof work done over the next couple of days. I've also got to go and renew my American visa so I can fly to America for work. Got to get my car serviced, and I'm meeting up with some friends later in the week as well, or next week, or whatever it is. So, yeah, I've not got nothing going on, but my plan basically, in the main, is to use this time. I want to get chapter 33 finished in the next couple of days, and then start working on chapter 34. And there are a total of 39 chapters, so I've got another 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 6 chapters to do, and then the epilogue, so 7, and that's a full chapter as well, really. So yes, I've got another 7 chapters to do, but I've done 33. Okay, thank you for listening. I'll be back tomorrow, slightly more awake, with an update. Take care, bye-bye. You have been listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, presented by Richard A. Boxall. Thank you for tuning in to my random ramblings, and if you'd like to know more about me or my projects, visit my Linktree at linktr.ee/Richard Wright, capital R, capital W. Thank you for listening.